Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Total NASL channel. Welcome, Mike, to this wonderful video talking about Indy 11, the biggest win ever, or in my opinion, it's your biggest win ever. I experienced it. Indy 11 fans after the match couldn't believe what happened. You know what I mean? And you want to have those matches every single week.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I would put it up there as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, wins for Indy 11 in their short history so far. I remember when Indy 11 won their very first home game against what was then league leaders Minnesota back in 2014. And then the following week, they beat what would be the eventual NASL champions in the San Antonio Scorpions. But I would put this right up there with that, especially given the fact that the New York Cosmos and 11 always ended in a stalemate for some reason. But this game was different, and I'm disappointed that we're off for 2 weeks, but I'm also glad we're off for 2 weeks because we get to celebrate it for the victory for an extra few days, so to speak.
Tim Higginson, after the match, he was saying that he's happy that they have the bye so they can calm down and actually understand what happened. But you can look at it two ways and say, well, okay, Tim, you're right. You guys need to calm down and maybe just go forward and try to win as many games as you could. But maybe you want to play a game on Saturday because everyone's just so excited about what happened. Especially the players are. You know what I mean?
Right,
They came off a
right.
big victory, and that really should boost them into their match coming up against Rayo OKC. So I don't know. It could go both ways, but now you guys have some time to relax, calm down, train, and actually prepare for. I think it's Rayo on the road and then FC Edmonton at home. So
Yes.
it's not a big stretch, but one that you guys could go through with your time off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you pointed it out there, but after a big win, you want to get right back into the game mode and play another game, or have a week off there. I do think it. I don't know Tim Hankinson that well, but he's going to have his squad focused and ready to go no matter what, whether that's a game the following week or so-called a bye week. I think it's an advantage to Indy 11 having this bye week at this time, especially given the fact that Nemanja Vukovic went down with an injury in that game against the Cosmos, and then Sinisa Ubi-Peripovic missed the game against the Cosmos because of a hamstring injury. So it looks like both those players will hopefully be healthy in time for the road trip to Oklahoma City. And then on top of that, Omar Gordon, signed with Indy 11, so he's had a few more training days with them and been able to be comfortable within the squad. And then Jair Reynoso, he was absent for the New York Cosmos game. His wife was ill, so he was with her, and that was a big emotional win for the team as well because they held up his jersey after the first goal. So you have all four of those players coming back into the squad. So Indy 11 is going to be a very, very strong squad heading into Oklahoma City next week.
And maybe a squad that should be feared as well. Rayo OKC, they beat Miami FC last night. So you're going to go into a very hostile territory, if you will, against Rayo OKC.
Yeah, Indy 11 is, but at the same time, I think they're used to playing in front of crowds that are like that, especially given the fact that um, how the Brickyard Battalion and how big of a voice they have, and how Indy 11 handles that playing at home. So I don't see any issues there. Playing in a hostile crowd, especially given the fact that they play in a stadium that's pretty hostile to away teams as well. So they came off a big win last night. So I think that Rio did. So two teams are going to come in next week and riding a high. So it'll be very interesting to see how both those teams handle themselves coming off such an emotional win the week before or 2 weeks prior to that.
So let's just finish off chat, and I want to know, Mike, what are you expecting from the team this spring season? Because I think a lot of people thought, well, if we beat the Cosmos, now we can go forward and say maybe win the spring or maybe shoot
Right.
for, say, top four in the combined table. So, what are your goals for this team moving forward?
Oh wow! Because I said at the beginning of the year that I had modest expectations for Indy 11, and I wasn't going to hop on that roller coaster of all the highs and lows. I was just going to stay even keel. And the first two games I was pleased with, even though they drew against Ottawa and Tampa Bay. I saw a lot of positive signs. I saw a lot of great things going on. Um, Much improved from the previous year and previous 2 years, actually. And then they come in and get a big emotional win against the New York Cosmos. I'm still going to say they finished right around, fourth or fifth for the spring season, and then sixth or seventh overall in the combined standings. I feel like, my expectations are modest. I don't want to get too high off of just one win. Um, you know, that's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay with that. My expectations from the beginning of the year, I'm going to stay with those expectations now. So, and once they play Rio, they come home to FC Edmonton, who have not scored a goal yet. We'll see if they can score one against Ottawa this weekend. And then they play a really tough schedule where they play at Miami, they play Minnesota, they play at Fort Lauderdale. So, the schedule just keeps getting tougher and tougher as the spring season goes on. So I think fourth or fifth for the spring season, then sixth or seventh overall is actually pretty good and much improved from the previous 2 years.
What's really hard to understand is that the season is really, really, really young. It's like week 4 in the
Right,
NASL. So, like, especially with the Cosmos, my Cosmos, I think we're struggling because we lost to Indy 11. You know what I mean? And that's one
right,
loss early in
right,
the season. Some people would say, well, okay, it's one loss. It's only the third match. But the season is only 10 matches. So that's what
right.
makes it very tough. If it was like a 20 match spring season, it wouldn't matter if we lost to Indy early on. But Mike, I want to get your thoughts because after the match, it felt like a lot of people were on that hype train, right? You sort of felt it at Michael A. Carroll Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's been on a hype train, I think, for the last, since, they beat New York Cosmos. So hopefully that hype train continues when they play Rio OKC and take 3 points on the road, which would be very, very crucial, and move on from there.
And so you don't see your Indy 11 making the playoffs, the postseason? No.
There's potential. Yeah, absolutely. They can make the playoffs, but there's still a lot of good teams out there, and there's still a lot of games to play. Nobody thought that Carolina would be doing what they're doing. They have a big matchup tonight against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, which could be, a potential, which could, define the spring championship already in week 4. You have your New York Cosmos are playing Minnesota in Minnesota. The Loons have never beaten the Cosmos, but both of them are sitting right there. If Carolina slips up, then they can take the lead. It may never look back. So there's still just too much time to play, or there's just still too much time left and too many games to play. And there's still some really good teams. Ottawa struggling, FC Edmonton struggling, Fort Lauderdale struggling, but we could see them turning around. At the snap of the fingers, they could turn around and go on a hot streak. Same thing with Jacksonville. They're amazing at home, but on the road, they have not been able to collect 3 points yet. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out remaining of the spring season and the fall season.
And talking about Tampa Bay Rowdies versus Carolina, I predicted a 3-0 Rowdies victory. That's probably not going to happen. I think I said it live on the roundtable. That time Heineman is going to score a hat trick. It's about time. He scored his first goal last week, or he scored the game-winning goal last week. And hopefully he just puts 3 in the back of the net, and Jason will be a bit upset.
Well, it's interesting because Tampa Bay are the favorites for this game, which they've really struggled. They struggled against FC Edmonton. They struggled against Indy 11. So, I'm not quite sure how they're the favorites of this game because Carolina has dominated every game that they've been in. Even though last week against Ottawa, the scoreline only said 1-0. I have Carolina taking this game on the road 1-0. I just think that Ty Cipollone, Austin Deleuze are just too strong in the midfield right now for anyone to handle. And I think they're going to come up big in this game. And one of those two players is going to score the game-winning goal tonight for Carolina.
Yeah, hopefully the Redhawks don't win the match, please. Yeah, because if they win and the Cosmos win, then there's a gap still. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if they drop some points and we win and beat Minnesota, who's in second place, then we have a great chance going forward because we have a bye week and then we play Carolina at home, which is going
Right.
to be our second biggest matchup of this spring season. So
Right.
that does it for us right now. Mike, do you have any last words?
No. I'll say my score predictions real quick. I had Rio beating Miami last night 2-0. Rio ended up winning, not by that scoreline, though. I have Fort Lauderdale and Jacksonville tying 1-1. Fort Lauderdale has struggled so far this season, but Jacksonville hasn't proven that they can win on the road yet. So I have that game ending 1-1. I have Minnesota beating the Cosmos 2-1 in Minnesota. So it'll be the first win for Minnesota against the Cosmos. As I said earlier, I have Carolina beating Tampa Bay 1-0. And then I have Ottawa edging out SC Edmonton 1-0. So I know both of those teams have struggled to really find goals. But I still think Ottawa has a little bit of an advantage this week against FC Edmonton. But it'll be interesting to see. They said that there were some tempers were flaring at FC Edmonton training earlier this week. So maybe that puts a little fire in them heading into their match against Ottawa. But with that being said, I still think my expectations are going to be modest, and I'm not trying to jump on that roller coaster for Indy 11 this year. Just going to stay even keeled, just because there is a lot of games to play, and there's still a lot of good teams out there that we here in Indianapolis have not seen yet. So, but the good news is that it'll be a fun season for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be, or it is a very exciting spring season, and it's even going to get really exciting with the matches tonight and tomorrow. So
Right.
subscribe to the channel if you never want to miss a video. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Also, comment below. What are your thoughts on the biggest win ever in Indy 11 history? And do you think you guys will win the spring season or make it to the championship final maybe against the Cosmos? That would be huge. At Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the final against the Cosmos in Indy.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe 5 points comes back. I'm not sure. I don't know how that all works out. But, yeah, that'd be an interesting match to see Cosmos and 11 in the championship at Carroll Stadium.
Yeah, so that does it for us today, and we will see you later next week.
All right. Sounds good.